Lesh and Lena knocked out a number 1. And then we got Mr. Tusk and Bounty Hunter. Pretty standard stuff. The most OP heroes in the match so far. Who do you think's the most OP hero right now, OD? Like, number 1 most OP.
Well, out of all the heroes, it's got to be Lesh. I think people will either agree on, unless you're. No, I think you've got to settle for Lesh. I guess in terms of pubs, maybe Bloodseeker is kind of positioned a little higher, but definitely in terms of competitive and all round, I think you just got to rate the Lesh as number 1 at the moment.
5 seconds remaining.
Indeed. Gyrocopter, interesting. Anybody excited about the gyro pick?
Not at all. This is going to be such a normal draft.
This is a wash game for me, right? You're just waiting for game 2 and 3. Hopefully it goes to game 3 again. Nah, in all seriousness, though, it's like every single team has their own style of how they like to pick. And it seems like in the past, Complexity have really liked getting their core heroes and a lot of teamfight-oriented cores as well. Like, they love the Gyrocopter. They love anything that can just be in the fight. So, not really surprising at all from them.
Yep, not anything too special. Winter Wyvern, easy pick as well.
10 seconds remaining.
Fight, all that money. I hate that hero personally, but
5 seconds.
Oh, you hate Wyvern?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand. Not good.
Not good, or you just don't like watching him?
It's just I don't understand. I don't
understand. I mean,
what that means.
All right. Early game, mid game, good. But what games are early game, mid game these days? Everybody always drags it out with something, and then I guess that late game BKB. I don't know. It's one of those heroes that to me it just feels like one big ultimate. That's it. If you get just the ult, it's like an Enigma. Go get an Enigma instead. Much better for that big ult, but whatever.
Dire team ban.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that.
A bit.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Skrath hasn't. I don't think he was banned or picked the entire 3 games, if I'm not mistaken, in the last series. You guys remember it all?
I think you are correct. Actually.
I think that's pretty damn good against Wyvern. Not really good against. Well, it's. How do you think it fares against the Refraction with the Mystic Flare? Is that considered decent?
It is good, yeah. Very good.
But if TA gets a blink, I mean, you're 2-shotting that Scarif every time. He's so squishy.
Oh, you can say that about a lot of supports, though, too.
Yeah, but Scarif more so, because you get in his face and there's not really a lot he can do to get away from you. So, I don't know. But yeah, you're right. It can do a little bit against Refraction, but I'll be surprised if we see it picked up against the team.
But it's more so against Wyvern when he embraces somebody.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It does a lot against the Wyvern, yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm. So, IO pickup. We're going to be seeing, is it just the IO Gyro combo, or are we going to be seeing something more than that? What are you thinking, Sunsfan?
Probably just Gyro IO. I mean, as much as I love Tony, I'd be surprised if they pick up Tiny as well as Gyro.
Remaining.
But it's possible. I mean, Complexity has been known to switch things up from time to time, so.
Elimination mode. You just never know, boys.
Pick.
Templar Assassin, we got it! Root Gaming, Wagga Templar, yes!
You just noticed?
It's been for like 2 minutes.
I didn't care, I'm not watching this crap.
Are you watching on stream 2 minutes delay?
Oh my
God,
it's
the 2-minute delay. I just didn't want to talk about it yet, because I wanted to get that
I hand you the torch, and this is what you do with it?
I'm working on it! It's my first
Slacks, just honestly, just get your shit together.
Red Eye doesn't have to put up with people questioning him, okay? Shut up.
That's because he does his job.
Ding!
Wow, Ember and TA, okay.
A bit of a greedy lineup. Ooh, I don't know about that. Thoughts, boys?
Well, the NA scene seemed to be favoring, in a lot of cases, having like 2 traditional mid heroes as your cores, which obviously both of them don't go mid, but I've been seeing that a lot more lately, especially since TA's been suddenly brought back. I don't know what has changed, but this hero is just picked all the time, NA, and I'm not sure why. I mean, I think the big thing, and it's not like anything's changed, but that's the thing, is the traps. Giving so much vision is a huge deal.
Oh, baby. Them traps.
I mean, sometimes you just pick heroes because you have a player who's very good on it, too. I mean, that's an easy thing to fall back on. It's like, oh, well, Dendy plays Pudge. Probably one of the best Pudges in the world. We can randomly pick it to throw teams off because maybe they're not accustomed to playing against it. Now, probably much more familiar with TA than a Pudge, but I still feel like if you have a player that's that good on a hero, putting yourself in a comfort zone is very nice, and especially in this game. I think winning the first game is super important in these types of lineups because you're pretty much getting every single hero that you want, and every game from here on out is going to become more difficult to put yourself in that zone.
Yeah. Can't agree with you more there. I mean, geez. It's going to be a pretty tight game. They're going to have to play very well. However, they pick up a Dazzle. Give them a little bit of room there. A little bit of wiggle room. Dazzle the right pick on this one, OD?
I like the Dazzle. It's I mean, against heroes like the Ember, you know, the sense that you can defensively weave and, you know, prepare for the fight, and suddenly the Sleight of Fist is doing a lot less damage. But at the same time, I really like the fact that Root have picked up the Silencer against what Complexity have so far. I mean, you've got Io and Dazzle, you know, with the Relocate and the Shallow Grave, 2 spells that you're going to look to save your cores in the midst of a fight. Silencer's going to be there halfway through every time with the Global Silence, and suddenly these 2 heroes that you kind of pick to save your teammates aren't going to be able to do that much.
Yep, gotta agree with you there. Although now Complexity knows to kind of stay away from that big team fight, you know, because they don't want to get that big silence off. So we're probably not going to be seeing too many of that. Lindsay, what do you think? What do you think they got? What's next to pick for them?
Well, I still, it's too late now to get Skywrath, but I think it would have been better than Dazzle, honestly, because we talked about the synergy with Mystic Flare, but also the Ancient Seal against Ember. You need some sort of silence against Ember. Now that Silencer's out, who's left that can lock down an Ember Spirit? Draskyl, what do you think? I mean, there are a few.
Shaker is banned, but it's interesting that Complexity banned the Shaker, because I think you can still put it off lane, and just having that point in the game where you have like Blink Echo is always really nice. The biggest issue though that Complexity run into is, like you mentioned, they actually don't have any way of dealing with the Ember at all. So I'm curious if they can even fall back on one of the normal kind of
I know that
carries if they
I was just gonna say, I know Swindle loves Dragon Knight, and if he picks up a Blink Dagger, that could be used against Ember. And I like this pick.
Yeah, it's solid. It applies some early game pressure. My only concern right now is I feel like Silencer Wyvern is such a strong support combo against their team in general. Say you relocate, you get globaled, and then all of a sudden, okay, well, we just relocated in and we have no turning potential at all. And the nice thing about TA and Ember is that they're both very good at chasing. So these heroes can extend and catch out whoever comes in or whoever's trying to run away from that team fight that you throw a global down for. So I'm kind of slightly favoring Root at the moment, maybe like 60-40. But of course, we do have one more pick to go. And with the addition of DK, I think Complexity still needs a little bit more lockdown. I don't think one Dragon Tail is enough.
Well, the Clockwork is still there for offlane, and I mean, there's a ton of offlane. We've talked about this so many times in the past games. Clockwork, I would be shocked if he's not picked or banned by either team right now.
If they have an Earth Spirit player, I would pick Earth Spirit.
Yeah, hey, that's true. That's true.
coL
the silence is huge.
And a really great spot to pick him. You can put him in the offlane. Winter Wyvern Ember is pretty terrifying, and if the Silencer's sticking around too, that can also be troublesome. But we don't know for sure if Root are going to be running their defensive tri-lane or what. But the only thing we know for sure is Silencer's probably going to be support, because they have Ember and TA together. So that gives you a little bit of info at least.
I don't know what they're going to do, but I'm excited nonetheless. I mean, we got Swindles on the Dragon Knight. That's his signature. We got TA, Wagamagaga, probably. That's his signature. Anything could happen, boys. Not really. They're going to play exactly like they always do, and it's always entertaining. So can't wait for that. We got one more pick here. OD, what are you thinking, baby?
10 seconds remaining.
I'm looking at the offlaners, and I mean, as we were saying earlier, lockdown for Ember Spirit is something that they're still kind of lacking. I mean, yeah, they've got the Dragon Tail. I mean, I don't think you can really count the homing missile. That's not going to do a huge amount. And I'm just kind of looking at the offlaners available, and in terms of offlaners on their own that can offer a lot of lockdown, I'm kind of struggling to see what the pick is here that's really going to shut down this Ember Spirit.
I like LC. But I also think, even though he's not lockdown, Phoenix is pretty good with against the refraction and it's a good team fight. But LC is pretty decent here.
LC is actually amazing here. Now that you mention it, just because right now the biggest problem they're going to have is trying to run away from fights like coL. When a global comes out, you want to be able to disengage. But the problem that they would run into is you don't really have a way of getting out, more or less. So having LC is just another tanky hero. If they don't expend global on that team fight, you have a strong Dispel, which only a few heroes in the game even have that. I think Abaddon is like the only other one. So that is also great. You can blink on Ember, go on them. The only downside is they have Wyvern. That's the only thing where I'm kind of like, okay, it's not amazing, but it's very good still.
All right, I get excited when I see Space Cows. Looks like, there we go, Spirit Breaker. That's an interesting pick. Not your typical pick there. Why'd they do that there, Suns fan?
Because they love cows, bro.
Yeah, let me ask somebody smart. OD, why did they do that there?
Well, kind of for the same reason we're saying this is going to be kind of nice for Ember Spirit. I mean, what are you going to do to stop the charge here? I mean, go into Elder Dragon form and pop a Dragon Tail? I mean, it's not really something that you're wanting to do every time. But no, the Spirit Breaker is great. You know, it's playing against an IO as well, so every fight you can go straight in on the IO. And, I mean, this last pick still for Complexity. I mean, Draskyl, could they even look at something like a Nyx Assassin here?
I think an Axe might work too, actually, with the Dazzle. That would be another.
They definitely need to pick an offlaner with initiation potential. That's what they're lacking the most right now. Like, they need something to help set up the Wisp combination with the Gyro. Because right now, like all you have is what Blink Dragon Tail from DK, and that's it. And that's not something that you just get over time. It takes money to do that. And I'm guessing that mid is going to be kind of
wow.
No,
Okay,
they're going push.
Wow.
All right, off lane Jakiro. So this is pretty much just. It's not really a death ball, but it can be if you want it to be.
Well, someone's definitely going to die, and my vote is complexity after that pick. But hey, we're supposed to stay unbiased during this, right? So they're going to do great. Jakiro, great hero. See him picked up a lot a year ago, so it should be one hell of an interesting game
What's
here.
What's with the flame, man?
There's no flame. I'm just.
Now.
It's subtle. It's very subtle from
It's
Slack.
very
you know?
subtle flame. All right. No, but I mean, it's a very interesting team. I mean, in my opinion, as an idiot, I will say that I like Root's draft a lot better. They got all the lockdown they need. They got all the carry potential. They got all the stop your stuff with silencer and initiation across the board. So, what's up with Complexity's draft, boys? What do they have going for them?
The one thing to note here is that Root are still very dependent on silencer ulti to be able to take fights. I'd say barring that ability, Complexity's 5-man is probably stronger. And by probably, I mean like 80%. Just because you have cooldown, you have Grave, you have 2 methods of saving, also with the Wisp being able to relocate people. You have good initiation.
OD, are you in the
strong
game?
push.
We don't want to start the game without you, bro.
Yeah,
that would be bad.
I'm in.
Okay, just making sure. Sorry, go ahead.
I thought it was about done, more or less. I just think that the lineup that Complexity have is very dependent on fighting around the silencer. Like, they need to make sure that they're not getting into an engagement where they relocate in when that ability is off cooldown, because it can just be a make or break. And as I already mentioned, Root, even with a Spirit Breaker edition now, they have such good chase. So you're not going to get away. Like, Ember TA and Spirit Breaker will chase you down and kill you.
So we'll see if that's exactly what's going to happen here in this game. Could start any moment. I don't know if it is starting.
Are you in the lobby, Slacks?
I think so. Yeah.
You think so? You were asking me how to join games in
And
Reborn.
here we go. The game should be starting any moment now. Thanks for joining us here. Very exciting stuff. Can't wait to see those sick Dazzle plays. Oh boy.
I know how much of a Dazzle fan you are, Slack.
I'm
Is
a
that
huge
true?
Dazzle fan. It's great. One of my favorite things to do when I'm attacking my enemies is not remove their health or their mana, but just their armor. Something that's not even a bar. So that's a great... Yeah, anyway.
That would be an interesting thing to add a bar of armor
Yeah.
to newer players, right?
That way Dazzle players could feel like they're doing something fun. So good for them. All right, anywho, game's about to get going here, I believe. We're picking our heroes. Any last thoughts before the thing goes on? OD Pixel, double GameCube extravaganza. What are we thinking here?
I want to see the Jakiro do amazing things. I kind of see why they picked it here. Obviously, it's a hero that's going to be picking up the Yules almost certainly, and that's something that you can use as an answer to the Spirit Breaker, and also to help yourself out against the Silencer in the team fights. And also the Ice Path kind of works against the Ember Spirit, in the sense that when he's looking for the Sleight of Fist, if you can lay down that Ice Path where he's going to return to at the end of it, you're able to kind of catch him out and begin the lockdown before he can then Remnant out. So... maybe the Jakiro is that pick that's suddenly going to win the game for Complexity, but other than that, I've got to favour Root here with their lineup, and I mean, as you've been saying, Wagamagababaga's TA is going to be quite something.
It is some dragon on dragon violence that we're going to be seeing here today. I'm very excited. Fire versus ice.
It's actually
Carries
4
versus
dragons.
carries.
Wait, does
That's-
Jakiro count as 2? That's
No.
one. It's 1 dragon with 2 heads.
Yeah.
So technically, there's 3 dragons in the game.
Oh,
No,
half
not-
dragon.
Yeah.
DK's half dragon.
I
I
had
do
a-
also want to
Don't-
point out
don't tell him
that
that to his
wyverns
face.
and dragons are different creatures.
Oh my god, Zyori, shut up. There's a reason you're not on the panel right now.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to hear about
lore
little
nerd.
wyvern. Nerd! Anyway, here we go. The match is beginning. We're going to take it over with our fantastic casters here, Zyori and...
Prepare
I don't
for
remember.
Draskyl!
Draskyl! Great!
Draskyl!
Enjoy
right.
it! See you
Thank
later,
you,
guys.
Slacks. Nice throw. All right, Draskyl, you're doing the panel, you're doing the cast, getting the best of both worlds, buddy. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good about this game, actually. I'm really excited to see how they use the Jakiro. I think
Yeah,
it's one
me
of those
too.
heroes that, obviously we don't see much. They took a different route than I was expecting. I thought they would go for initiation. However, that's not the case. They're going to go for kind of a mid-game 5-man strat, which can be really strong. And that could just be because of the fact that they want to try to, again, fight around that global, like make sure you don't get caught out by it.
Yeah, it's similar to what I was talking about on the panel with the Tidehunter. Those heroes that have those really long ultimate cooldowns that are so core to your team fight, they can be abused a little bit. You can play around that, and we'll see how Ja executes here. Is it Ja? Is it Ya? What's the proper pronunciation
It's
for this
Ja.
guy? I know him
Definitely
back
Ja.
from the Han days, but okay. The Ja runes. I always think of Diablo 2 when I see his name. Oh boy. Okay,
Yeah,
so what do we have here? Oh, what's that, Draskyl?
Potential wraparound here from Complexity.
Oh, here we go. Monkeys forever. Gonna bump right into the gyrocopter. Another tether right onto Ziz. He is in the danger zone here. He's picked up the Searing Chains. Puts him out already. Now Way 2 comes in. There's the Poison Touch. He is in no man's land with nowhere to go, and this will be an easy first blood for Complexity. Picked up by the gyrocopter.
Yeah, it's a really good start. And from the looks of things, they're going to be running an aggro try against Ember, who is not really the greatest hero playing against anything ranged or even physical harass based. So could be a little bit of a struggle here for Root early on. I do kind of favor their fighting if they can get out of the laning phase unscathed, but we'll see what Complexity wants to do to deal with that. As right now, it looks like they're just going to dodge.
This is pretty exciting. The aggro tri-lane, or at least potentially exciting. As you mentioned, the dodge will consist of a smoke from Derp and Jaw headed down to the bottom lane. They'll put some pressure onto MJW. He's pretty far forward, and this is looking like it could yield a kill. There's the Arctic Burn to get it started, the charge in from the Spirit Breaker, and yeah, nowhere for the two-headed dragon to go. That'll make it 1-1 as Root gets on the scoreboard.
It's fairly unexpected to see heroes like Silencer roaming around like that, but when you're ganking a Jakiro, I mean, the hero is not really that hard to take down if you have a lot of time to attack him, and unfortunately for MJW, he was a little bit too far out of position and ends up dropping. But all in all, 1-for-1, slight advantage to Complexity. The way the lanes look, mid's probably going to go in favor of Root. Top, obviously, Complexity are going to take that. And depending on the support rotations, maybe Root are looking to try to win mid as well.
Yeah, it seems they'll stay true to the roaming Silencer, at least for now. He's gone last word at level 1. And Derp rotating around on mid. They're going to have to wait another few seconds here for the Arctic Burn to come off cooldown. Swindle in a pretty good defensive posture around his tower. Do they actually want to dive the tower for this? Well, they're thinking about it, looking for that golden opening.
Okay, he just used Volatile Charge. I was going to say, he's level 3, so if you look at him and you click and you see +3 armor, you can just deduce that he doesn't have Dragon Tail. So if they just click on him, like, oh, he doesn't have stun, maybe we can dive. But at the moment, it feels like they're being a little bit careful about it, which I don't blame them. Yeah. I mean, look at top. Why push it, you know?
Here we go. Swindle pokes forward. Now the Arctic Burn and last word come out. Wagga poking forward. He's got the refraction on for the extra bit of damage. Swindle dipping low, trying to sip the bottle, but he lives. 25 HP to spare. It will be a failed gank from Root, but they take no casualties.
I think he definitely could have killed him there.
And now up top, Monkeys forever. He's going to have to move into the tree line here. The tree creeps are trapping him in. He'll eat some tangos, but Way 2, he's already there on the other side. Hits him with the Poison Touch. They're pinging out his projected path. This is a pretty cheeky little wraparound. Okay, Searing Chains out on Way 2. Monkeys jukes him, and he will live. Now hiding in the tree line. The jukes continue here, Draskyl. It's a great race. Can they actually finish him off? Nope. Now in comes Wagga. They want to take this fight. Rocket Barrage doing some good damage here. Monkeys only level 3 right now. Searing Chains have come out. Way 2 getting low. He doesn't have Shallow Grave. Curse of the Silent will take the last bit of mana from the Dazzle, and he falls. The hasted up TA secures the kill. And Complexity get punished for their hyper-aggression here in the top lane.
I gotta say, that tango usage right there for Monkeys is very good. And this is one of the benefits that you get from being a Dire safe lane compared to Radiant. There are so many more places to juke on Dire side because the jungle is actually just bigger. And he was able to buy so much time, and that haste rune was incredibly fortuitous coming out from Wagga. Pretty sure that turn doesn't happen without that rune.
Yeah, agreed on that front. Though this is leaving some space for the Jakiro in the bottom lane, who's faring pretty well against the Spirit Breaker. Both of them farming pretty evenly, though back up top, more aggression. Yep, Ziz, he's got the last word on. Already used the Arctic Burn. Now the Curse of the Silent. That'll be a Rocket Barrage. John, some trouble here as he tanks the entire Rocket Barrage. Tries the TP home, but that won't happen. That'll square it up 2-2. This time Complexity getting the better of it. As this is turning into a tri-lane on tri-lane, and it seems pretty straightforward that this Complexity lineup has a bit of an advantage here with all this sustainability.
Both teams have a decent amount of sustain. It's just like you have Winter Wyvern, of course, with the Cold Embrace, and they're going to go on Monkeys again. Okay, I've seen this movie before. Okay, they're just going to back up.
Yeah, but they have a lot of physical damage, but the Cold Embrace also sets up for the Rocket Barrage to do quite a bit of damage if there aren't creeps nearby while you're in the Ice Cube.
Yeah, that is very true. It's all about positioning with that skill when you're playing against Gyro. So if you like stand next to the hero that's in Cold Embrace, there's a good chance that he's not going to take much, because then you can split the Rocket Barrage damage between the two of them.
Alright, Swindle closing in on level 6 here. I'll pick up the Bounty Rune down bottom. Looking at the CS in mid, it's very even. Wagga had to sacrifice a little bit of his farm to rotate up top, so pretty square there, which I guess you would consider a victory for Complexity.
I think if they get this tower early, then you can start rotating around a bit. Like, even going as far as to say like roaming gyro and such, go around to mid, try to stop Wagga from farming. You have good early game heroes against the TA, which I think Complexity have kind of specifically drafted for, and another reason why I think DK is great and the Jakiro, because they have so many things that eat through refraction.
Well, up top, the tier 1 tower falls. Ziz will be able to finish that off. So Gyro off to a great start here. Phase Boot's completed already. And just look at the CS chart. He's sitting at 35. The next highest is the Dragon Knight at only 21. This is a great start for the Gyro.
And you can even tell by the way this lane is going that Monkeys is altering his normal skill build. Like, you do not see this build very much. This is 3 Sleight of Fist, 2 Searing Chains. This is specifically because he's not getting farm, right? So what he wants to do is he wants to be able to set things up with Searing Chain so his team can actually go in. Because with Spirit Breaker and TA, you have a very good train of initiation. You can kind of just chunk people down.
Yep, charge here from the Spirit Breaker. He'll be heading on to Swindle Melons, who's getting pretty low. Wagga's softening him up pretty good. Although good positioning here from Swindle will make this a difficult gank. Are they going to dive it? Yes, they are. Spirit Breaker doesn't cancel. He comes swinging on in. The Lantern in the front lines. TP from the Dazzle. That'll be a shallow grave to keep Swindle alive. Root will be repelled, and they will not find a kill. Meanwhile, in the top lane, okay, still just Ziz pressuring this tower. Wagga finds Z-Freak here. Battle for the rune. Now the charge coming in onto Wisp. Z-Freak will tether back up to the high ground. He pulls the Spirit Breaker into an awkward position, gets bashed up to the Ancients. Oh, how fortunate here for Z-Freak. Well, sometimes the bash is in your side, and sometimes it goes the other way.
He just warped. It was like after the bash. He was standing there and then just teleported up to the high ground. Okay, that was
I mean, you can blame Reborn if you want, Draskyl.
I mean, the map is different, to be fair. Like, there's so many times where I've tried to buy items from the side shops now, and I could swear the purchase radius is smaller. Like, I just feel like I should be able to buy, and I can't. So, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. But I guess that kind of... It evens up the luck, though, because Wagga got a haste that got him a kill, and he just gets bashed and lives. So, I guess everything is all even now.
Yeah, looking at this Ember Spirit build, this is taking me back to when Ember Spirit was first added into Captain's Mode. This was the go-to build, putting some points in Sleight of Fist, that breakpoint on Searing Chains, and... Yeah, it's interesting to see it here. I feel like he absolutely has to, though, and now he's at least getting a little bit of space for recovery farm. But as we've seen in the past, Ember Spirit, not the best carry when playing from behind with a start like this.
Oh, it's brutal. That is super, super bad. And I think that's another reason why this build is so good. Because the Sleight of Fist still does reasonable damage, and you can get the Searing Chains pretty much guaranteed. And the other thing is, you're not going to be in the fight with Flame Guard if you don't have any items. Like, the hero is notorious for being squishy anyway. So if you have, like, 300 GPM or 200 GPM, which is probably what he's at right now, close to, you're not going to want to use Flame Guard, because you're just not going to want to be in there.
Yeah, well, another Tier 1 tower falls. Down bottom, Jakiro's been able to chip away at it with the maxed out Liquid Fire. 2-1-4 build here, sitting at level 8. And now the DK, the other dragon, just chipping away at this mid-tower with that Corrosive Breath in the Elder Dragon form. Complexity starting to tighten the noose here around Root as they take more map control. We'll see Jakiro ulted by the Spirit Breaker.
Oh my
bash
God.
after bash to follow up. Well, it looks like the luck has gone right back the other way here, Draskyl, as Spirit Breaker has made up for that lost kill on the Wisp.
Did he actually hit him once without bashing him?
I don't think so.
I think he actually just bashed him every single attack.
Oh man, that's one of the most satisfying feelings when you can just bash after bash after bash. 100% bash rate. Yum.
I mean, honestly, what do you do against that? That's when you just like take your hands off the keyboard, contemplate your life choices, get things together, and just hopefully when you respawn, it doesn't go that badly next time.
Here we go, mid lane, Gyrocopter. He's picked up the Drum of Endurance. He'll pop it straight away, thinking about a dive behind the tower, but instead they will just settle for this Tier 1. The Glyph has come out. Root struggling to mount a strong defense here, and it looks like they will have to sacrifice this tower. Meanwhile, off to the side, Wagga chipping away at this Ancient stack. It will be interrupted, though. Way 2 hits him with a Poison Touch. That'll take off the Refraction pretty quickly. Tier 1 tower did fall. Last hit went the way of the Dragon Knight. I like this ward here from Complexity. It gives them so much vision in this spot. Root have the high ground, but Complexity know exactly what's going on, and they will contest these Ancients.
I'm not sure if you can fight at this point. They do have Global available, but I don't know if they have the damage. That's the biggest problem. Like, between DK, Jakiro, even Gyrocopter, he already has Drums and Aquila. They're all pretty darn tanky. It looks like Spirit Breaker's going to take a little bit of damage here. I don't think Ziz wants to go too ham on that, but this is kind of what we were expecting out of Complexity's lineup. They get to a point in the game very early. Yeah, even having a solo Jakiro, like the dodge from Complexity was brilliant, because it stopped the Ember from farming. Root knows they can't contest that lane, even if they have 3 heroes there. That's why they just decided to rotate instead. And
Yeah,
now
I
it's
mean,
just...
This is really difficult. Oh, Zyori with a nice tether pulls the Spirit Breaker into an unfavorable position. Macropyre comes out, and that'll be a dead cow. They'll chop him up and turn him into cheeseburgers as they continue to lay into the Tier 2 tower. No contest from Root Gaming, and we're only 10 minutes in, but their high ground's about to be threatened here. Dragon Tail out on the Waga. They'll queue up the, oh god, the Ice Path as well as the call down. Global Silence, but it's used very defensively here. Ziz on the back foot, the Curse of the Silent, enough to bring him down. The kill will go the way of Silencer, way to Graves himself, hoping to get the Gyrocopter, but the Global Silence making it impossible. Complexity will be repelled as it seems they have overextended. Way too with a risky TP out, he will live. Swindle moves up to the high ground, he'll TP home, Z-Freak to follow, and the rest of Complexity will survive. So, Root getting a little bit of a freebie there at the end, but still some damage has been done losing a Tier 2 already.
You can just tell how much stronger Complexity's 5-man is. Like, even using a global in one of the best situations that you're going to get when the enemy team is diving your base, they walk away from that with 1 kill. And granted, Way2 kind of messed up a bit. He went for the Shadow, or the heal, instead of the Grave first, and then he ended up losing Ziz, but since Ziz didn't have a TP, I doubt he was going to walk away from that either way. So, all in all, it was alright for Root, but they've already lost so much. Like, this is so difficult to fight against.
Yeah, call down onto Waga. He'll have to pop the Refraction. He gets an Invisibility rune, eats it right away, and that will ensure his survival. Another fortunate rune for him. And he'll head back to safety. I really like that the Gyro went for drums this game. Seems like really the ideal build for what they're doing here with the super aggression, gives him some nice stats early on, a little bit of extra movement speed. I haven't seen the drum Gyro nearly as much as you used to.
I think it's mostly because everyone just goes SNY. Like, you see like Aquila SNY immediately, but because of the timing that they're looking to hit, Complexity don't need that 20 to 25 minute window. As soon as the Jakiro is 7 and the DK is 6, they can 5-man. That's all they need, because by that point, Ziz is most likely also going to have call down. So they have their teamfight utility, they got their sustain, they got their tower killing potential, and because Liquid Fire is so good during the early game for just getting those towers down, no one really takes any damage from sieging. So they have a great lineup for just consistently applying pressure, and I gotta say, this is pretty hallmark Complexity. They love doing this, and they love their Enigma with the DK as well, which, interestingly enough, we saw them ban during this particular game, but yeah, Root definitely on the back foot. If we're looking to try to come back here, first step, this Winter Wyvern needs level 6. Like, Derp is level 5 right now, he's about halfway through. Monkeys, he's saving for something. I don't know what item he can buy that's going to matter too much for him. And since he's gone for the Sleight of Fist build, I don't know if drums are going to be super useful, but he might get them anyway. It's going to be a while, though, before this Ember comes online.
Yeah, he's got about 2,000 gold now, just sitting on brown boots. He'll obviously need the phase boots, but I wonder if he's just thinking about pooling the gold, just going straight for the Battle Fury, maybe I want to say high risk, high reward, but I don't even know if that's high risk. It's just, he needs it. What is the ideal build here? Think of a Maelstrom?
You do want Battle Fury, but Maelstrom is probably the best bang for your buck when you're this far behind. Right. Just because getting a couple of lightning procs just to clear out the creep wave can be helpful. If you look at Root's team, their wave clear is pretty awful. Like, they have Splinter Blast and Psyblades, and that's it. So Complexity can do the sieging thing where they just sit there, keep applying Liquid Fire to the tower, and eventually it's probably going to drop. So I wouldn't hate Maelstrom here for him. The other issue that they're going to have is Ember is super farm reliant, and they had absolutely no answer for the aggressive tri-lane. So even if he does manage to get to that Maelstrom, they're going to have to defend their base, what, 2 or 3 times, I think, to be able to get enough money to get a real foothold in this game. And it's kind of a bummer, because I actually liked Root's lineup, just Complexity. The way they laned it just smashed them, like, so hard.
Yeah, and this is one of the weaknesses of this kind of a support duo, where Wyvern doesn't really offer any control until she hits level 6, and then even then the Winter's Curse has a pretty decent cooldown, and same with the Silencer. You know, this isn't like a Lion, for example, who just has consistent low cooldown ways to lock down the team, try and create some space. I feel like this Silencer support is kind of a bottleneck for Root right now. He is not really known for his ability to delay pushes this early on.
Yeah, and I get what they wanted to do with it. Like, when they picked it, I was like, oh, that's actually very good, because their heroes are so good at chasing down and killing. But in order to get to that point, you actually have to win the lanes, and that certainly did not go the way that Root wanted it. So it seems like the story of the game, more or less, is just Complexity's early game is their only game. That's all they want to do. They don't want to let the game go past, like, 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah, the Ico try ended up being really smart here. The safe lane Jakiro had pretty much no issues against the Spirit Breaker aside from that first gank we saw with the roaming silencer. And now he's had plenty of farm. He's got his Arcane Boots, Basilius, and a Staff of Wizardry that'll probably be a Yule's. Set up for the Ice Path, Macro Pyre combo. This is a pretty happy Jakiro.
Yeah, and the thing is, even in the circumstance that, say, MJW was broke, he didn't have any farm, it wouldn't even matter, because he just needs to be there for Liquid Fire. That's all his job is. Go to the tower, apply Liquid Fire, continue hitting tower. That is his whole job. The other...
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so hard. Like, Root doesn't even have spam. Like, Splinter Blast and Last Word is their spam. And then I guess you have a Sleight of Fist, which does 80 extra damage to heroes. They don't have a way of pushing you out. They don't have a way of de-pushing. I think Complexity... At the beginning of the draft, I thought it was actually pretty close, but given how the games worked out, I don't really think it's too far of a stretch to say that Complexity definitely outdrafted in this game.
That's one of the bottlenecks of having the Ember TA as your two cores. If you have a good laning phase and they start balling out of control, the game becomes very easy because you've got these carries that are in great shape, but at this stage of the game, both of them just need so much space. I mean, Waga, he's doing pretty well. You know, he's number 3 on net worth, but it's still going to be a while before this TA feels really powerful and can kind of take over the game. Interesting choice for Monkeys Forever, though. He goes for Boots of Travel, first item on the Ember.
This is okay, though, because he's probably just assuming that there's no way they're ever going to fight. So the best thing that you can do in that scenario is try to put yourself as far away from the death ball as you can and just try to pressure other lanes. So
I like that.
Instead,
you're just always moving around and avoiding the conflict, so you can always find somewhere to farm. That's
and the
smart.
cool thing about Ember is that you can always have a Remnant out. So say, for instance, he wants to TP bot, and he knows that they're going to be pushing base in like 10 seconds. He just throws out a Remnant, bots to a lane, kills like 1 or 2 creep waves, and then Remnant's back. You have plenty of time for that.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. He's probably one of the best suited carries to do that kind of split push, but still come back to clean up. Though, Complexity not resting for a moment as they move into the tier 2 tower in the top lane. Dragon Knight will lay into the tower with that Corrosive Breath as Monkeys continues to farm here in the mid lane. Ooh. Dazzle doing some damage. Only one outer tower remaining here, Draskyl. 13 minutes in. Swindle's already TP'd down bottom. Still plenty of time left on Elder Dragon form. I think they're going to try to take this last tower here in just a matter of minutes.
That seems like a Jakiro DK game to me. That's pretty much how this is played out. And the Dazzle's even getting kind of close to either Arcanes if he wants them. He can go for the Medallion, which I think would be great in terms of the timing, because as soon as that last tier 2 dies bottom, he'll have around the money that he needs to buy it, and then they can just kill Roche, which makes your high ground push even more devastating. Fighting into Aegis, plus, you know, whatever other items Complexity is able to get in that time, which Swindle's sitting on 3.2k, so he's definitely not hurting for money right now. And potentially a Yule's on MJW. Things are looking great right now for Complexity.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think this is a Shadow Blade game here for Swindle. When you're this far ahead against heroes like Silencer, heroes like Winter Wyvern, if you can get the jump on them, it can be pretty darn potent. So he'll pick up a Shadow Blade straight away, and Dazzle, good call there. He'll pick up the Medallion. He's already picked up the Chainmail.
Yeah, it's a great choice. Also, just very common item that you see on Dazzle.
Yeah,
so Complexity, I'd say probably about 5 or 6 minutes they're going to be looking to get that last tower down, maybe head to Roshan. Maybe they even feel confident enough that they don't need it. And as far as the Shadow Blade pickup goes, great item when you have map control. I think people have a tendency to underrate this item because they say, oh, well, you can just buy dust and stuff and sentries, but just having that potential is great. And top lane looks like we're going to see a charge.
Yeah, Ziz could be in some trouble here. Last word will go off. He's silenced. Tether here from Z-Freak. He's got the relocate. He used it before the global went off, and he will save the gyrocopter. Not only does he save him, but global is on cooldown. That is a big victory for Complexity, even though they will have to sacrifice their Wisp.
Yeah, Z-Freak's in a little bit of a pickle right now.
Oh, wait, he's got invisibility rune!
Oh, nice.
You can't see
I
it
couldn't even tell. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, why aren't they hitting him? And then I just realized.
Oh my, that is so clutch, and now he'll TP out. That is a huge win for Complexity.
Alright, well, that's just a whelp moment. That's when you just say Dota 2, and you continue playing and hope for the best.
Mid lane, Wagamama in some trouble here. Swindle initiates with the Shadowblade Dragon Tail. Some cooldowns used. Waga will barely live the initial assault, but they finish him off straight away. No buyback for him. He'll be in the grave for 30 seconds. No global. Tier 3 under siege. Oh, Monkeys Forever. He TP's in, gets dropped instantly. now, in comes the Spirit Breaker, trying to isolate Z-Freak on the back line, but it's Jakiro with a Yule Scepter right into an Ice Path Macro Plier. That'll be another dead Space Cow. Triple kill for Ziz on the Gyrocopter, and this is looking like a quick game one here, Draskyl. Tier 3 tower already below half health. John now initiated on, even through the Cold Embrace. They're going to continue bringing him down. He's dead, gets off a Curse of the Silent before he falls, but it just doesn't matter. This should be an easy mid laner Rax.
I gotta say, Complexity played this more or less perfect. Like, all they needed to do was get their levels and then just start 5-manning, pressuring the map, take all the outer 2 towers, and obviously shut down monkeys in lane. And they did precisely that. So easy middle racks here. I don't think that Root have the damage to do anything. Like, whatever Sleight of Fist or random Splinter Blast they take, Way2 is just very easily able to bring them back up just throwing out a Shadow Wave. It's not even a problem.
Charge again. Z-Freak is on point with these tethers. Anytime he sees a charge out, another fight gonna break out here. Swindle on the front lines. It's Waga that's isolated. Ice Path to get it started. The calldown's doing a lot of work on the backside. Z-Freak getting low, but Way2's there with the Shallow Grave. It'll keep him alive as they turn onto the Spirit Breaker. 3 in the grave for Root. Make it 4 as they finish off the Ember Spirit. It's just the Silencer left alive, and that's it. GG's called. Root will be forced to tap out. 11-4. Complexity take a very convincing win here in Game 1. We'll have to see what they have up their sleeve in Game 2, given that these pushing heroes will be off the table.
That was really great stuff, but as we also talked about in the last couple of series, I think the first game is super important. Because you get your comfort zone heroes, right? So you come into it playing your best draft, you win with your best draft, you get that confidence boost, maybe you got a couple of other pocket ideas for game number 2, but just getting this win under your belt is huge for Complexity. And I think that Root kind of fell into this trap of, we have a good idea for a mid-game team, but their laning phase just could not be recovered from. Like, that's really all this game was. Like, Monkeys, he did some really sick juking in top lane, he did everything that he could to make himself useful, but an Ember with no farm against a 5-man deathball, that is probably one of the least winnable situations that you can be in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we've talked about the power of Silence, and especially Silencer against heroes like Dazzle, heroes like Wisp, but it just, he doesn't provide enough to stop that kind of all-in pushing. So, well, a quick one. We'll hand it back over to our analyst desk here to see what they thought about this match between Complexity and Root.
Thank you so much, Zyori. What a match, a quick one that one was. Whew, gracious me. Cinderin, you're a smart guy. What happened?
Am I a smart guy? I think it's pretty straightforward. I think Draskyl covered most of it. As far as the Dire draft goes, they need time to come online, right? And they didn't have the presence in the early game that they needed, and there's a couple of things to be kept in mind there. They choose to draft TA into Gyro, who is notoriously good at countering that hero. He has an AoE slow that she can't move in. The moment she comes in remotely close in a team fight, Rocket Barrage disallows you from effectively playing your hero early on, so you need to itemize for it, and he doesn't get to the stage where he can get those items, Waga. The other thing is the Ember Spirit, who, like Draskyl said, had a hard game, did what he could. I think he could have done better by not going Boots of Travel. Like, if you're playing against a Deathball strat that is going to go for your towers at minute 10, you can't afford to go for a split push build on Ember. Like, you're not going to get time. Your hero isn't good enough at it. So maybe he could have taken a teamfight item. I don't know if it could have made a difference, but it could have definitely been a better route for trying to deal with the Radiant lineup. That it just seemed like they didn't understand what they needed to do.